My life seems to revolve around motorcycles in a variety of ways. I used to be an MSF instructor. I write articles on motorcycles for Top Speed, and I do custom feature images for other automotive publications. Because of that, I am involved in a lot of research. So I do a lot of research for my articles, I do a lot of research for motorcycles, and I end up absorbing a lot of that knowledge for better or for worse, and tends to make me insufferable if you ever bring up motorcycles, because I tend to think I know everything. Because of the research, I know a lot. Doesn't mean I've ridden every motorcycle, but it means that I've at least looked at the lineups of just about every manufacturer, or at least mainstream manufacturer out there. Most riders, unless they are in the same position as me, or at least somewhat obsessed about motorcycles, don't tend to know this information, at least not as much as I do. I'm not tooting my own horn, by no means. It's just fact that I have to know this stuff. It's not even the fun stuff. It's just like specs, engine specs, models, model names. But I'm an outlier. Most riders wouldn't know that. There's no need to know that. It's a very niche kind of hobby that we're into here, at least in the US. But I'm not gonna lie, that tends to come in handy when I'm replacing a motorcycle of my own, or looking into buying a new model, for example, or something like that, or someone asks for my help to buy a new model. I'm able to give a somewhat intelligent answer on what kind of model you should get, depending on certain specifics about yourself. With that in mind, I wanted to create a list of models that's slightly different from what you see typically. I mean, we've all seen the usual top 10 sports bikes, blah, 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 top 10 adventure models, top 10 Harleys, top 10 whatever. I mean, it's like a million of them out there. Hell, I've done my own share of those. I've written my own share of those. But it's hard. It really is hard to come up with a good top 10 list or top 5 list. I feel for my editors at Top Speed. They have to do this weekly. I wanted to come up with something unique, something maybe you've not seen before. And I kind of circled this idea of your bike doesn't have to be boring. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? It's obviously subjective. This is my list. I will always say that ahead of my lists, is that this is my list. It's not a definitive list of anything. This is based on personal tastes, right? All of that stuff that I said that precedes it should at least qualify me somewhat to have an educated opinion on these things. I'm also a graphic designer. Aesthetics is my thing. With all that said, what is your version of this list? Tell me down below. And while you're down there, of course, like and subscribe. You're already commenting. You might as well. Beep, boop, bop, beep, boop. I'm tailoring this list to those of us that are newer to the motorcycle industry, newer to riding, or maybe you're coming back from not having ridden for a couple of decades and you don't know where to start. You guys tend to be the ones that need help the most, because I remember when I was starting out, I had no idea what I wanted. I didn't know what my tastes were. I tried all these different motorcycles until I ended up settling on what I have now. So I'm going to concentrate on the following categories. We'll start with mini bikes, because for some inexplicable reason, a lot of you hooligans tend to like these bikes. Then we're going to have midweight sports bikes, beginner cruisers, midweight adventure bikes, and then midweight naked standards. I'm choosing midweights because you can come down from a big bike to a midweight bike if you're aging out of these giant, massive, heavy bikes and you just need something a little bit lighter. And you can move up from lighter bikes to the midweights, or you can, in a lot of cases, start with a midweight as your first bike. Not all the time, but sometimes. Some of them are fairly tame. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a boring, safe choice. If you want to start there, perfectly fine model. It's kind of like a loaf of white bread. There you go. And then I'm going to give you a cool alternative so that your first bike or your second bike is not boring. Again, subjective. But the idea is you may have not heard of these versions or these models before. Maybe it costs a little bit more, maybe it costs a little less, but it has some interesting features, etc. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. What can I say about mini bikes without sounding judgy? I'm kidding. Write whatever you want to write. Mini bikes are cool. They're fun. They're unique. They're user-friendly. They're beginner-friendly. They're just like these little wheelie machines. A lot of them are legal for the street. You can commute. You can even take trips on it if you want to. You can modify them, take them off-road, do whatever you want. And on this list, the boring safe choice, of course, is the granddaddy of all of those mini bikes. You probably have heard of it. If you're researching mini bikes, the number one that one is going to come up is, of course, the Honda Gram. Honda does it the best. They are so good at these mini bikes. They have so many other ones. They have the Monkey. They have the Super Cub. They have the trail bike, the 125. All sorts of the Navi. The Gram is the safe, obvious choice. It costs $3,600. It's dang cheap, if you ask me, for a bike that you can take to work or to a friend's house. It'll be fast enough. It's 125 cc's. It'll be fast enough for what you need it to do. Now, if you need to go across the country, you don't get that one. Now, why is it the boring safe choice? Because everyone gets these. Sure, they are bulletproof. They are fun. But if you want to be somewhat unique, if you want to be a little different, there's a company called CF Moto, and they just released the Papio SS. This little bad boy, guess what? Cheaper than the Gram at $3,300. And it looks bananas. Look at it. It's a little sports bike. It's a little cafe racer. Look at that little fairing on it. That's dope AF. Yeah, okay. The elephant in the room, and we're always going to talk about it, and it's until the cows come home and they stop being, and it stops being an issue, is that yes, it's a Chinese company and it comes from China, but CF Moto is legit. Okay, they've been releasing top of the line motorcycles for the past several years. They've been making inways into the US market. They've got a bunch of really good motorcycles that everyone seems to be raving about. They're reviewed really well. They are moderately priced. They look cool. They look unique. They don't look like clones of other Japanese bikes or Italian bikes or British bikes. They kind of have their own style. They have sports bikes. They have naked bikes. They have adventure bikes. And they have this SS, this Papio SS that looks bananas. I want one. I'll just say it. I want that one. If I'm going to get a mini bike, that's the one I would have. Okay, moving up a little bit in size. And maybe the fun factor, middleweight sports bikes. Now, there are a million choices at this point. There's stuff from Kawasaki, Honda, Suzuki, Yamaha, even Triumph is getting into it with the 660 Daytona. Just everywhere, except for the American manufacturers who refuse to make anything but cruisers. So the safe, boring choice for the middleweight sports bike, it comes from Honda, the CBR 600 RR. Now this bike is north of $12,000. I think it's $12,200, and it's a Honda. It's going to last you a lifetime if you take care of it. But it's a Honda, so it's kind of boring. I don't mean to rag on Honda. They are top-notch manufacturer, but they're vanilla. They do their job. They do their job well. They're manufactured perfectly. They last you a lifetime. But people complain about BMWs having no soul. I would rather have a BMW than a Honda at this point, because at least they're interesting. But anyway, the 600 RR, it's a sports bike, and it will do sports bike things. But wouldn't you rather have something more interesting? Something with a little bit more character? Something a little bit more, I don't know. Oh, Italian? Aprilia RS 660. It's about $1,000 more expensive. But my goodness. My goodness. The engine on that is just beautiful. The noise, the character, the handling, and it looks gorgeous. It's not just another sports bike. And if you can afford the Honda 600 for $12,000 plus, you can afford an Aprilia for 13 plus. Come on. Why would you even, why is this even, why are we even talking about it? Would you trade off for character and trim and fit, finish, beautiful stuff, the premium look and finish? What you trade off is the reliability of the Honda, of course. So if reliability is your thing and you're spending that $12,000 and you want that to last you a lifetime, I mean, go with a Honda, but then you're just another Honda boy or girl out there. When it comes to beginner cruisers, there's a really good one from Kawasaki, and I say it's really good, yet very boring, but it's good for a very specific reason, and it's the Vulcan. It's the Vulcan S. It's not so powerful that it will run away from you, and they have this ergonomics package that they tailor the bike to your reach, your legs. They can move stuff to tailor it, and it'll fit you like a glove. Most motorcycles, you can adjust certain things maybe, but most of them are kind of made for an average person. And a lot of the times, that average depends on what the manufacturer thinks the average person is. Some are made for tall people, some are made for short people, some are in between, and you just kind of have to find it. With the Kawasaki Vulcan S, you can be any size and it'll fit you. But that's where kind of the good stuff about that bike end, because to ride it and to look at it, just kind of, it's boring. It's boring. Now, what's a interesting, cool alternative to the Kawasaki Vulcan S? How about a Royal Enfield? Have you heard of it? These guys are just kind of like nailing it, like knocking it out of the park with all these different models they've been coming out for the past few years. There's a Scrambler coming out that's based on the 650 engine that they have, the twin, which was in the Interceptor. They have the Himalayan. They have the Himalayan 450 liquid cooled. They have the bunch of 300cc, 350cc models. I'm not talking about any of those. I'm talking about the 650 shotgun. It's a 650 inline twin, and it's cheaper than the Kawasaki Vulcan by $300. It's around $7,000. But I don't have to I mean, I don't have to look at the comparison. Look at these two right next to each other. Which one would you rather have? Would you really take the Vulcan? Would you really take that kind of like bland looking cruiser? Again, the trade-off is reliability. But if you're looking for something simple that looks cool, that reflects kind of like on the vintage vibes of old Harleys or old bobbers, and you just want a lumpy, big metal kind of like dope cruiser, I mean, that's the one to get. That's looking at the lineup of Royal Enfields. I just want every single one of those. Maybe not the really small ones. Why? Mark my words. Next decade, Royal Enfield's going to come up with a sports bike. They're going to come out with some other stuff that's going to be cool. Watch them. Yeah, they're fairly simple for what they are, but you know what? They're cheap. They look cool. They give you lots of color options. Because they're so simple, you can work on them, you can modify them, you can fix them. So we have two more categories left. The next one is the middleweight adventure bike. Adventure bikes, they've exploded in the past like decade. In the last 20 years. The one thing that probably helped a lot was the Ewan McGregor, Charlie Boorman documentary, The Long Way Round. And if you hadn't seen that, check it out. It's on Apple. There's 3 seasons. They go all over the world on different kinds of motorcycles. The first 2 series, they did it on the BMW GS. And they were going to do it, long story short, they were going to do the first series on KTMs. And then last minute, KTM pulled out because they didn't think they could do it.
Because of what details? It is an adventure after all, and he's done the idea is that we go on an adventure, you know. Okay, well, thank you for your time. Thank you. Bye-bye. They think that we might fail.
And then we'll do it in the BMW and show them what a great big mistake is. What a business. Fail. How dare they say that?
So they didn't give them the bikes, and now they're going out of business. Coincidence? I don't think so. The boring safe choice, and this may be a little controversial, but is the Suzuki v-strom 650. The v-strom is fine. It's fine. It's, again, bulletproof. Got that Japanese reliability. It'll last you a lifetime. If you take care of it, it's fine. But it's, come on, people. The v-strom is boring. You know this. You know this. Everybody knows this. Even you v-strom riders know this. It's boring. What's not boring is the KTM 890. But we're not here to talk about KTM because they suck. But what we are going to talk about is the Yamaha Tenere 700. This little bad boy has been around for quite some time. I believe they started in the 80s. Went up and down, up and down, up and down. But the latest iteration came out mid-2010s in Europe and everywhere else, and then finally made its way to America. We've been wanting them in the States for a very long time, and now we finally got them for the past couple of years. And they're just amazing. They're perfect for everything. You can take it to work every day if you want. You can take it to the twisties. But what they're really made for is just tackling any terrain you throw at it. They're comfortable, they're fairly lightweight, all the necessary technology. The suspension is great, and they look like they just came off of the Dakar rally, the one that they do for millions and millions of miles out in the desert. They just look like that's what they're based on. And the previous models, and I think current models, but the previous models have competed in the Dakar rally and won. So there's a lot of pedigree there. They have the right specs, and the best part is that spec-wise, they're better than the v-strom 650, but they cost the same. Do you understand? They cost the same as the v-strom. Why would you have the v-strom over a Tenere 700? Get the Tenere. Get the. I can't even. I'm leaving. I can't. The final your bike doesn't have to be boring category is the middleweight naked bike. Is this a controversial choice? Again, personal preference. Tell me down below how much I suck. But also thumbs up the video, please. Don't thumbs down. What is the boring choice? I'm sorry, guys, but it's a bike that I used to have. And yeah, it's boring. It's been around the block about 1 million times. It's been on the track. It's been in the twisties. It's taken people to work and back. It's the SV650. It's a great bike. What could be better? What could be better than the SV650? In that category, there are a couple of choices, but my personal choice, and it speaks to my biases, of course, but I would choose the Trident 660 from Triumph. I am familiar with the power plant because I have the Tiger 660, which is the same engine, that triple. Now the SV650 has the V-twin. That's not a bad engine. Nothing is bad about that bike. I'll say it now. It's just the obvious choice. Suzuki's great. They've come up with some great bikes. But don't sleep on the Triumph. The Trident, when Triumph came up with the Trident, they were looking to do something inexpensive, not a beginner bike, but an entry point into their brand, because the cheapest bikes they had at the time was the Twin. The Street Twin at the time, I think, cost $9,000, $10,000, somewhere around there. Not inexpensive. The Trident now costs $8,500, $8,600. A couple grand cheaper. And now they have the 400 models, the Street 400 and the Scrambler 400, and they're even cheaper, and they're competing with Royal Enfield on that level, on that plane. But the middleweight, the Trident, it just looks like a street fighter. It's unlike anything else on the road, because the SV650, you could kind of be like, oh, what is that, a Honda? Is that a Kawasaki? I can't tell what. But if you look at the Trident, you can't really compare that to anything else. It just has its own unique style, unlike anything else. It looks modern and retro at the same time with that round headlight. The engine, again, based on an old Daytona 675, I believe, in a street trip back from the 2000s, somewhere around mid-2000s. They repurposed that engine for this model, retuned it. It's all brand new. But based on my riding the Tiger 660, I can't imagine anybody choosing the SV650 over the Trident, just based on that engine alone. It's such a peach. And if you're concerned about Triumph of old being unreliable, that's, again, a story that continues to perpetuate itself by people that don't know what they're talking about. The modern Triumph has nothing to do with the Triumph of the 60s and 70s that used to leak oil just like Harleys do. You can say the same thing about modern Harleys. They figured out how to make motorcycles that work, that don't break all the time. So I wouldn't worry about it. If you're thinking that, oh no, I don't want to get Triumph, they're constantly breaking down. I don't know who told you this, but they're wrong. These motorcycles are bulletproof. that about wraps it up. There goes another list. Hopefully this list was different, entertaining. Let me know if you guys agree with me, disagree with me. Tell me in the comments what you like, what you didn't, what kind of interesting new list you'd want me to do next. If you got any ideas, I will certainly entertain them. In the meantime, comment, like, and subscribe. It'll help my channel grow. And I will see you next time. Please ride safe.